Oh, it's fine, right?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
So these are the things which are required to know a layman probably. If already you know about it, any one of you know about it, that's fine. If they don't know about it, we can just walk through all this stuff. So probably these concepts are required to know any data warehousing probably. These are the basics I can say, like, you know, ETL, BI, anything you should know about these things. Stars, snowflakes, and slowly changing. You should know what is a slowly changing dimensions, different types, and you should know what is a junk dimension, conform dimension, and a data warehouse architecture. So probably in the real-time scenarios, you should know what is an SDLC, how it works, and what is the flow of data warehousing projects happen in a real-time scenario. So these are the minimum things which are required, and the basics prior to these things you need to know is SQL thoroughly. So people who are not aware of SQL, they should know SQL in terms of like, you know, very basics, probably joins, group functions, subqueries, and views. It will be good if people knows if it is a, like, you know about materialized views, if it are the Oracle, if it's Teradata, they should know what are the join indexes. Okay, so these are the things which are required to get into the any other BI tool. May not be MicroStrategy, it may be BOS, Cognos, Hyperion, or any other thing. Okay, so these are the minimum things which are required. And apart from these things, as we are about to start about MicroStrategy, as I already told you, so people are, you may put some experience in MicroStrategy, but that's the reason. Till 2010, MicroStrategy was using 8 version, April. In April 2010, it was launched with 9 version. So what is the difference between 8 version and 9 version here? So till 8 version, MicroStrategy is purely a relational online analytical processing tool. In the sense, it's a purely roll-up tool. Okay. From 9 version onwards, it has got an essence of, I can say, essence of MOLAP functionality. So what do you mean by MOLAP functionality? Multi-dimensions. For an example, if you take Cognos as a reporting tool, it's purely a MOLAP tool which has got everything in all types of cubes into it. In the sense, so that particular concept was introduced into MicroStrategy, the intelligent cubes concept, intelligent cubes. That's the reason MicroStrategy has got an essence of MOLAP functionality, and to an extent you can say MicroStrategy is a hybrid online analytical processing tool. Okay. Now, as I already told you, you have different varieties of components in MicroStrategy, same as other BI tools. But what is the difference? I'll just walk you through here. So you have different components here. So I have installed just now a MicroStrategy version for you people. I can just show you here itself. Before that, I'll just type it here. Desktop, web, intelligent server. So you have narrowcast server, you have command manager, you have enterprise manager, you have integrity manager, you have object manager, and next you have Office, mobile, and SDK. So these are the different components that are available in MicroStrategy. So let me give you an idea. Probably most of the people have attended the last class, but anyways, it's better to, like, you know, I don't see any problems listening first. So before coming into this particular one, so as I said, we have 3 roles available in MicroStrategy in the market. One is an administrator, other is architect, the other is developer. Okay. So the architect's job is more challenging when you compare with developer and administrator. So after that, developer will be more interesting job. When I say interesting job, you will be interacting with reports, dashboards, the flash mode, and all those stuff actually. So now, desktop and the web are special components for architect and developer especially, who will be working 100% of their task will be done in this particular two components. So they can work on the mobile, they can work on enterprise manager, but if you want to categorize the percentage how they work, I can say 80% of the job will be done in the desktop and the remaining 20% of the job will be done in the web. So what do you mean by that? So desktop is a software where you install your MicroStrategy in your local machine and you will be connecting to a particular server, maybe the server residing in any place of the world. So you will be interacting with that server to create your being an architect, you design the project, you do your modeling there, and after that the developer comes into picture and he creates reports, dashboards, cubes, data mart reports, whatever required for your project deliverables, including all the objects what the architect has designed and what are the ingredients are required for that. Using these things, he creates the reports and dashboards. Finally, we need to give it to the end user, and where the end user will be looking at these reports through a browser, probably a URL. So he will not have the desktop and software everything. So after the completion of the actual development, it's our duty to do the unit testing, whatever, in the web, not in the desktop. So while doing this kind of testing, you may come across some kind of formatting issues or whatever, all these things you will be fixing them directly interacting in the web. And these days in the latest version, 9.2 version is the latest version what we are using right now. So we can create certain reports, dashboards with a limited functionality directly in the web. Okay, but the best practice is to create reports, complex reports and dashboards in the desktop and test it in the web. There are few features available for end users or power users, you name them like that. So they can directly create ad hoc reports, by themselves. You can call it as a, most of the time that's what the ad hoc reports are, the things which are created by the end user. Now, intelligence server, heart of MicroStrategy. Without this, there is no 3-tier architecture, and more than 3-tier means 4-tier and 5-tier architecture. So I'll be talking about this intelligence server in detail probably after this components. If anyone have any doubts, let me know so that I can give you more information on that. Once this is done, I'll walk you through with the software and everything. Okay. Now, narrowcast server. This particular thing is used for distribution services. Okay. What do you mean by distribution services? Let's say, for example, I'm in US and my CEO is in UK, and probably my server or a database is in India. So I need to interact the reports and data from India, and I need to create a report, dashboards, and I need to send it to UK, wherever my CEO resides. So this particular thing, I should make it as a daily job, in the sense schedule it every night, 12 o'clock, the report need to be exported to Excel or PDF, it need to send to my CEO. So what are the options available in MicroStrategy? I can send this particular thing through email, phone, pager. So these are the 3 options which are available in MicroStrategy narrowcast services, which are available to schedule, subscribe to a particular person, to send it to his mobile or pager, or using SMTP servers to email. We can schedule it. We can do it in a bulk option also. Let's say I need to send to 5,000 users throughout the world, a particular report has to be sent. We can do it in narrowcast server. But the latest version what I'm talking about, these options are available in desktop as well for a particular scenario. Let's say you right click on a report, you can send an email to that particular user, that particular report. Okay, that option also is available in latest version. Now, and let me tell you, everyone will not use the narrowcast servers unless there is a requirement. Okay. Now, so I'm talking about command manager. The command manager itself, it says writing some scripting commands. So whatever the things you can do it in the desktop, you can use the command manager in the same way. But as MicroStrategy is a graphical user interface tool, here you will not write any coding or command or scripts kind of thing more, in the sense like you right click and create a report, right click and create a dashboard. So most of the things you use with the mouse rather than typing with a keyboard. But this command manager, especially, we need to write a single line or a double line scripts. So in what scenarios you will be using? Let's say, for example, you need to create a user called Pavan. So what you will do, you go to desktop, you will have an administration console there. So I can show you here. So you will be having an administration console. If you want to create a particular user, what you will be doing? So you go there, go to the administrator, user manager. So right click, new, it's a group. Let's say, for example, I've created a group called dev group. Okay, save it. Enter into this particular group. You can create inside another group or a user. So I can do this, but doing this particular thing, it will take few minutes of time because I need to right click and create a user. But let's say, for example, I need to create 100 users at a time. So such kind of activities can be done in command manager by bulk execution. Okay. Now you can execute a report, you can create bulk users, okay, and you can do all the activities which are done in the desktop here, but through a command prompt. You can stop the intelligence server. Okay, you can start and stop the intelligence server, and same way you can alter the users, you can purge the cache. So everyone knows about cache, right? Hello? So we have Ashok, Kalyani, Kanti, Sirisha. So I guess everyone knows about this information. So let me go ahead. Sorry?
Can you please give me a brief information on cache?
So cache is something like a temporary memory where it stores a particular session's information. Let's say, for example, I have a report where I need to run it for the first time. Let's say, for example, I've run a report in the morning 7 o'clock. So that's the first report run. So within that particular session, if I run this particular report n number of times, it pulls the data from cache instead of getting from a database. So once you run it, it stores the data in your cache. From there it will take it. Okay. I'll explain you anyways in the architecture part. Okay. After this, Enterprise Manager is used for audit and log purpose. What do you mean by this? Now, in a big MNCs like enterprise data warehousing where it is implemented, so you might be using different departments of users will be interacting with your reports, and where you need to have maintenance would be a big problem. Administrators will be creating users maybe duplicate users were created, and it's very hard to maintain multiple teams available who are interacting with MicroStrategy reporting. Such kind of environments, to maintain it, you use this Enterprise Manager. So what are these things? How many valid users are available in MicroStrategy? How many reports were created by Sirisha in last 6 months? How many reports were deleted by Ashok in last 2 days? How many valid users? How many duplicate users? All these things, all the logs and related to audit information you can see here. Okay. Now, Integrity Manager, and as I already told you about this in the last class, it's very rarely used component. So this is used for testing purpose, in the sense comparing the two projects, baseline projects or two main projects or two reports or baseline reports. Let's say, for example, when I did use this, as I told you, till April 2010, I was using an 8 version since almost 3-4 years then. I might have created 5,000 to 3,000 to 5,000 reports, objects, whatever. suddenly MicroStrategy came and it asked me to migrate it to 9 version. So I need to make sure my production box, when I point it to 9 version, whatever the reports end users are working, it should replicate the same thing here. It should not, the look and feel should not change. You know, probably I need to train my users and all those things I need to look into. But before getting there to the production level, what I need to take is I'll pick a complex reports and projects from existing 8 version. I'll take the metadata for those things. I'll promote it to 9 version. I'll test it, compare with 8 version reports with 9 version reports, and see is there any difference in like, you know, pulling the data, execution of the reports, and all the points. I'll look into it. If everything works fine, then I migrate it to the 9 version. Okay. So these kind of things can be done in Integrity Manager. Let's say, for example, you have moved your report from QA to production, but you are expecting something, but production environment it's not working in that way. Let's say the SQL generated has got 40 passes of SQL in QA, but you're getting 39 passes in production. There was a mistake happened or something is happening. You can compare with this particular thing. So most of the ETL people and database people, if you're using Toad or Edit Plus, you know, you can compare, or you can write an FC file comparison to Unix probably. So, you know, depends on the scenarios. They're using different components for that. But in MicroStrategy, you can use this Integrity Manager. Now, this is a day-to-day activity for administrators. This one, as you know, everyone, you have Dev, QA, and production. These 3 servers are available in MicroStrategy. I mean, any other software project, you take it, these 3 will be servers. You know, you may have a validation or a staging extra for these ones, but whenever you create a new project, that object you need to migrate it to QA and production. So you use this particular component for migrating a migration object from one server to another server. So now you can ask me, apart from migration, will Object Manager work for anything? No. Only migration can be done with Object Manager. Only testing can be done with Integrity Manager. Only audit related reports can be generated for Enterprise Manager. Only scripts can be executed in Command Manager. These are specific tools to components to work for specific things. You understand? So this is what the importance of MicroStrategy, and why MicroStrategy is famous, just because of intelligent server, what it has got with a powerful analytical engine. I'll talk about that. Now, Office. I can compare this particular thing with MS Office in the sense I can export the reports to Excel, PDF, HTML, MHT, Flash mode, or any other exporting options I do have in the market. I can do it from the desktop. So why specific to Office? Let's say, for example, I need to do pivoting. So I need to swap the rows to columns, columns to rows. I need to do some kind of analysis, like, you know, I need to slice and dice the reports, and I need a flexibility. Okay, such kind of typical activities can be done using Office. So again, so people, most of the people, they'll not purchase the Office licenses unless or until they require these kind of things like Office, Narrowcast Server, Integrity Manager. Very few people will be using these things. Narrowcast Server may be used by the people, but Office and other stuff, they may not be using it. Mobile. Earlier it was strict for iPad, iPhone, and BlackBerry. So these days we have Androids also available for MicroStrategy. So whatever the reports you can, if you have iPhones, you can just install the app through, like, you know, whatever the app stores you have through iPhones and everything, you can install MicroStrategy app. You need to give your web server where the mobile server need to be integrated with that, and you need to give the server name. Whatever you're using in the desktop, you can view the reports from database, like, you know, whatever the reports you have generated in the desktop, you can view it in the mobile as well. Okay. Now, SDK, let me tell you, I'm not going to cover this because this is specifically used for customization of the reports. In the sense, you should know about Java or .NET, any other programming language to do this customization SDK. So you need to use the APIs, which are the programs which are generated through Java and .NET or any other programming. You need to use them for, let's say for example, you need to create a specific button, a special button which is not possible with MicroStrategy options. So you can write a code and you can use that and build a button for a specific report. Okay. Now these are the components you have. Anyone have any questions, or I can move to architecture?
Yeah, good. I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. So any other questions, or anyone have, or I can continue? 2 tier, 3 tier, 4 tier, 5 tier. I think most of the people have already listened about it, but anyways, that's fine. Okay. So 2 tier. 2 tier is something which you people might be using for your internal purpose, for your practice maybe. No one is using this particular 2 tier in any of the organizations these days, to my knowledge. So you have a database, you have a desktop. So what does it mean? So let's say for example you have created some reports here. When you run this report, it goes to database, fetch the data and show it in your report. This is what a 2 tier environment. But the limitation here is whatever the reports you have created, whatever the objects you have created, you can only see that. Apart from you, no one else can see that. Okay. 3 tier. Database, you have intelligent server, you have desktop. So this is very important concept. I already told about this, but I'll repeat it once again. Now, an intelligent server is something like, server name. I can show you here. Let's say, for example, this is a project. Right click. New project source. You see this server here. Here, this is a direct means 2 tier architecture. Means directly connecting to a local database. It may be a physical database like Oracle, like using ODBC connection, or you can join with an MS Access or Excel, CSV, whatever you have. Now, server, you need to give the server name here, whatever the server you're using. Okay. Now, whenever you run a report from your desktop, that report will go to intelligent server and look for a cache. As we were talking about cache here earlier, the cache means, let's say for example, in this particular session, or there is an option to enable the cache for a particular server. If you are running a report in that server, always cache will be enabled. Why do you enable the cache? What are the scenarios? Probably interview questions again. So let's say for example, your end user, your CIO or CEO is running a report. Okay, high level management people. They'd never like to see a report, a blank report. Okay, so they want some kind of data. Let's say for example, you have a report. Probably the users start looking at it every day at 10 o'clock. Okay, so you have 1 hour grace time, but unfortunately your production database got down and you are not able to load the data into your respective databases. When you run this report, where if there is no data in the database, it will throw you an error in MicroStrategy. It will show you blank page and it will be a big escalation problem. So that's the reason we enable the cache in production environment for specific users. What happens if at all there is no data? If you enable the cache, it will pull the data from the same session or a previous session. Okay. Now you need to purge the cache. This is the reason why people purge the cache if there is a new data available from database. Now, I have run the report. It went to intelligent server, look for a cache. There is no data here. If there is a data, it will pull from there itself. It will go to SQL engine. MicroStrategy using the objects what you have, the dimensions, the facts, You call them in MicroStrategy as attributes and facts and metrics, etc., etc. All these objects will generate multiple parses of SQL, and that will be generated in SQL engine. Taking that SQL, it will send it to query engine. These queries will be sent to database, and they execute the queries there. The output of the result will send back to query engine, from there to database desktop of the report. It will be shown in the report. This process will be done less than a second time. It depends on the data what you are pulling. Now, analytical engine. So this particular thing is pretty much famous. So probably it will be available in multiple BI tools as well. But here, a small example. Let's say you have a salary and a commission. These are the two columns in the database table you have, and you need to calculate certain special calculations. What is the percentage of commission for a particular employee in his department? Or else you want to calculate commission into salary, commission plus salary. These kind of calculations are not available in database. So such kind of things you can perform certain arithmetic, logical, or OLAP or analytical functions on this particular thing, and which are handled by analytical engine. On top of it, query engine, you pull the data, you perform such an activities and show it in your report. This is called three-tier architecture. Now, database, intelligence server, desktop. You have this intelligence server is directly connected to web as well. I cannot show you probably in a graphical way. So this intelligence server commonly connected to desktop and web. Whatever the activity is done in the three-tier, everything can be done in the four-tier as well. When you run a report from web, everything the same flow, desktop, same flow. Got it? Now, five-tier. You have database, you have IS with desktop and web. This desktop, not the web, desktop is again connected to narrowcast server. As I told you, distribution happens from desktop. You can send this mail to 1,000 users through email, through phone, through pager, etc., etc. So this is an architecture of MicroStrategy. Now coming to the objects. This is the final topic. You have configuration objects. You have schema objects. You have public objects. Now, the configuration objects were handled by administrator. What are the things covered here? I'll be covering all these things, what I'm telling you now. Installation. I'll show you how to install MicroStrategy in your machines. And project creation, duplication, metadata configuration, ODBC, etc., etc. So all the admin components. What are the admin components you have? These admin components. I'll show you how to do a migration. How to do the testing. I'll show you how to create a user in command manager, how to purge the cache, how to do certain activities. But don't ask me send a mail to my mobile, send a report export to my mobile. That cannot be possible because I don't have a server with me. But I can show you how the things are going to work with intelligent servers if you have IIS in your machines. Home premium laptops will not support IIS in Windows 7. That's what I heard, and I've been trying. Okay. If you have XP, you should have IIS, or if you have a professional laptops, you will have that server installed. We can install it. You can assign it to Oracle. You can assign it to Teradata. I can show you the difference how SQL generates with Oracle Teradata, because most of the people use Teradata and SQL Server database, DB2, etc. But it depends. Now, after schema object, like public, this configuration objects. Schema objects are done by architect. Let's say, for example, what are the things normally in MicroStrategy architect does? After your backend development is done, you have given a data model, project data model, and you have given a database. All the tables were given, or views will be given. Most of the cases, no one will use a base tables for your reporting. On top of it, you will be creating views. Some people will have an option to create views, MicroStrategy architects. If it is a more sensitive environment like banking domains, they will not entertain the end you like MicroStrategy people to touch the databases to create views and etc. So you give the suggestions to ETL team. I need to join this. I want a view like that. They'll create it and you can use it. Now, what happens in schema objects? Warehouse catalog. This particular thing will be used to pull the views or whatever you call tables from database to MSTR environment. Okay. Now, you will have tables. Basically, everyone know about it. You will have dimensions or lookups, you call it as, or a fact tables. You have attributes. This attribute is nothing but a dimension in data warehouse. You have facts and you call it as facts. So dimensions and facts are nothing but respective columns in those tables. You have a dimension table, you have a fact table. On those tables you will have columns. You call them like this. Okay. You will have hierarchies. Hierarchy is used to drill the reports from one level to another level. Okay. Now, apart from this, you have transformations. Transformation is different here. This is used to compare two time periods. It may be a table-based or an expression-based transformations. Normally people shows trends. Like you can show it like current year versus previous year versus budget. Okay, using some charts, some gauge, some widgets, flash mode, everything. You have partition. This particular thing is very rarely used, to be frank, because unless or until you are hitting 1 billion records of a table, or like more than 750 million or almost 1 billion or 6 million records of table where you are creating ad hoc reports. So I can give you a scenario. Let's say, for example, you have different currencies. You are working for a Lakme project or a Walmart project. So you have different currencies available, that an exchange rate table is there. So what you do? You should have a local currency, US dollar, and constant dollar will be there. These are the three things. All these records will be stored in one particular exchange table where it has got some 5 billion records. Example I'm giving. If you hit a 5 billion record table and you put a word clause on that table, it will die. Obviously, you will not retrieve a data from that table. Okay. So because only fact table will not happen there, you should interact with multiple millions of records of dimension tables. So instead of that, basically you can do a partition kind of thing. Before doing that, you should have a partition tables at the back end. What you will do, you put a view on that particular thing. You create a view for constant dollar, create a view for local currency, you create a view for US dollar, and all these you give particular indexes for these things. You give a numbers. You create another view. If it is 1, get the constant dollar. If it is 2, get the local currency. 3, get the US dollar. These kind of things you can do it with this partition mapping. It's a scenario I've given you. There are a lot of examples where probably I'll be providing. Okay. Consolidations. Guys, you have any questions here, or I keep on saying completely? Hello?
I'm good.
How about Sirisha? We have Anki, Kalyan. Okay. We have consolidations. Consolidation is something. Just a minute. I think it's gone. It's a collection of attribute elements. This is handled by analytical engine. It means, let's say you have a country attribute, country dimension where it has got India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, USA, Japan, etc. countries names are there, but you want to see a data in terms of high population, medium population, low population. So you can consolidate, you can do certain calculations on elements of attributes, in the sense rows of attributes or dimensions. You can perform some calculations. So high population, China, India and some other country will be added in one place. You call it as a high population. You show in that way in the report. Okay. Now filters. As everyone knows, you restrict the data and that's called as a filter, and restricting the data can be done in the where clause of a SQL normally. Okay. And you have 5 types of filters in MicroStrategy. We'll be talking probably once the class starts. You have prompts. Before getting into it, you have custom rules. It's a collection of filters. In the sense, I need to create some 15 filters or 20 filters. Instead of creating separate objects, I can create one consolidation. Prompts. I told you already, it's also a where clause or a restricting data, but the difference between filter and prompt is filter is something you as a developer or an architect, you hard code it in your reports. Prompt is something like, you give a privilege to an end user to restrict the data while running the report on the fly. Okay. Let's say, as I told you the example earlier, you have an Expedia site or kayak.com where you book a flight tickets. You go there, you see 2 dates there, start date and end date. You are an end user, you give 2 dates, you get a report with flights available between those 2 dates. That's the report and this is the prompt. That's the thing. Okay. Now you have metrics. As you people know, the fact is something like a measurement called cost, profit, revenue, discount, freight, etc. And the metrics is nothing but a group function of fact. Now you have drills and templates separately. These are nothing but drilling a report from one level to another level. Within a hierarchy is this one. Beyond the hierarchy, I need a specific customized report. If I right click on a year, I need to see a brand information. Year and brand are 2 separate entities in different hierarchies. But how can you achieve it? You can achieve it through drills and templates. You have reports. It's nothing but a collection of all the above objects. You have dashboards, dynamic dashboards, dynamic. You have intelligent cubes. Basically, guys, everyone knows about cubes, or I can give you an example here. Let's say a small example. Basically, why do you create a view or a complex view or a materialized view? So basically, if you want to fit a particular table, you retrieve the data from directly a table. If you want to retrieve a particular data from multiple tables, you write a query, joining everything, you pull the data. If you want to do it frequently, in the sense, if you want to retrieve the data from multiple tables for every 1 hour, what you'll do, you create a view, you store it, and you retrieve from that particular view or a materialized view if it is frequently updating or incremental loading. But the thing here is, the same thing can be achieved in MicroStrategy also by creating intelligent cubes or data mart reports. I have a scenario where for every 1 hour, 100 users will be running a particular report, and that report will hitting a database, 2 fact tables, 10 dimension tables. And those tables are very important tables which will be used throughout my project. More than 5,000 users will be hitting those tables, some of the other cases. So in this scenario, if that particular report is hit for every 1 hour by 500 users or 100 users, and the data will be refreshed on a daily basis, weekly, quarterly, monthly, depends on that. I create an intelligent cube, I schedule it, as per the data refresh. On top of the cube, I create reports and dashboards. What happens when I run a report? It will not hit the database because this cube will capture data from database and put it in that particular place and in server. You can call it as a cache as well. Okay. Unless or until you refresh it, it will not go. Okay. You need to drop it if you don't want it. So you run the report, it hit this cube and pull the data. It will show you throughout the month. Okay. With this, you can reduce the performance of the tables. Okay. Increase the performance. I'm sorry for that. So you will not disturbing the database views or tables every 5 minutes or every 1 hour. Okay. So that's it. I have. I'll be, as I told already, I'll be taking this class for 22 working days. If you are interested, I'll cover Saturday and Sunday as well. I'll complete it because I can teach MicroStrategy in 3 days, 1 day, or 1 week. It depends how you want it. Okay. So if you have any questions, let me know. Or else.
Is it going to be every day? What time it's going to be, Pawan?
So the plan is like because I have continuous this one. The plan is to have this one at 7:30 now. Probably
1 hour a day, or what's the duration?
It would be 1 hour a day. 7:30 I'll be taking the class. Probably after 1 week it may move to 8 o'clock because I have other classes going on. So those will be coming to an end. So I'll be adjusting the timings. Probably it will be from 7:30 or 8 o'clock between these two times.
Can I make one request if it's okay for Shrisha and Kalyan and Kanti? Can we skip Friday if possible, because Friday is kind of most of the time it's Friday evenings with the family, and we always have some plans here and there. So is it possible to skip on Friday night? If that's okay with Shrisha, Kalyan, Kanti.
I don't have any issues.
That's what you people can talk. If you have any personal thing, I can give you the number. You can call me anytime if you have any problems. But that's what I can provide you some exercises which have been almost 6 years now. I'm using the same document, but the procedure will be same. Data you'll be seeing for like 2011 and 12 years if you're using the latest version. So I can help you out in the interview process if you have any specific things. Okay, you can reach me anything because I give a job support also for 1 to 2 months, not more than that. Okay, for the students which I teach normally. So
what kind of material do you provide, Pawan? Can you show the samples if you have anything, like what is the course material that you would provide?
Basically that's what I'm saying. I don't provide any hard-coded material or PPTs kind of thing because that's how I teach normally, and that's how people like to learn also. That's what I realized. I directly show you everything in the tool itself, and you will be habituated because you will be creating some 60. Hello. 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 Hello.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Pawan. Looks like somebody else was talking.
Oh, that's what I was just listening. Probably someone is talking to me. So basically, what I'll do is I'll be covering. You can see the file, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a small thing from here to the advanced concepts like this, and I don't recommend to study any theoretical part in the sense like it's a BI tool. Frankly speaking, you need to practice it, and as you know, probably any other person can know it. People are not interested in talking about theoretical here, and they need more real-time scenarios, everything. So I can give you some running notes and interview probably kind of things which are helpful for you people. I can suggest few sites where blocks and all those stuff. Okay, so you see here, as I told you, you have a SQL generation engine, analytical generation engine, query in generation engine, look at it, it's less than 1 second. Okay, 19 milliseconds. What database it was hitting? Tutorial database. What are the tables it is hitting? How many SQLs it was created? This is how creates MicroStrategy. It creates a temporary tables to make the performance bit faster, and it drops the tables once the task is completed. Look at the drop table. Okay, it will be different for different databases. Okay.
Sure. So the deal is we are going to meet 7:30 tomorrow. That's the plan, or 8?
That's what I just want to hear it from the people, like how they want it. Is it fine with them this time, or they need some other time, or what? I don't understand.
8 p.m. is very well fine with me, and you can check with others.
That's what for now we'll stick with 7:30, at least a week time, because I have already 2 batches going on, 6:30 to 7:30 and 8:30 to 9:30. So this is the only slot available for me. So a week time we can change it to 8 o'clock.
Sure.
So any questions, Sirisha, Kalyan, Kanti? Any other questions?
I have one question.
Yes, please.
Regarding this, as like I'm like an ETL developer, and it's like I want.
You are an ETL developer?
Yes, in informatica.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Okay, so what do you suggest? Like, since you said there are like 3 roles, one is like architecture, admin, and developer. So,
yeah, I understand. When you say you are an ETL developer, so you do a typical development, or you do any data modeling stuff for backend, in the sense like. So
Not that.
I mean, I understand. Let me complete it first. So when you say you are an ETL developer, informatica, so you do any kind of data modeling with the database, you design the project, or you do certain activities, or you just let's talk practical. So you just pull the data from source and put it in a target. You just run your jobs every day. You do this activity as a developer, or you do any other thing?
I mean, I do most of the time. I do the developing, and apart from that, it's like we are also involved in like the database design. It's not I completely take care of everything, but it's like.
Okay. So then that definitely you can look forward for an architect part, but it's yeah. But the problem here is when you say architect, it's not like a database data modeling part. It will be a different one. Because reporting architect is different. What's the database architect? Because you think in a data modeling part with respect to your data model with the database. But reporting data model is different. You need to sacrifice a lot of things with respect to the 2 limitations. You understand?
Yeah.
Let's say for example, I'm using a data. You give me a raw data, a low level data, and I need to create all the aggregations in MicroStrategy. That can be possible always. Okay, I can do that. You give me a raw data, but certain calculations has to be done in database, certain has to be done in reporting. Then only you can retrieve the data in a much faster way. This logic, if you understand, you are the architect. Okay.
Yeah, of course I understand that. I'm like more looking into like developer and admin. I don't know how depth you are going to tell about into these roles.
So let me tell you one thing. I'll be covering complete developer, complete architect, administrator. If you want complete, I cannot teach you in this particular 22 days. Okay.
Okay.
Because administration is a easy job when you compare with architect and developer in MicroStrategy.
Yeah.
A very easy job. If you understand, those are routine works, predefined tasks will be there, you do it at a max. Okay, no one is using in this market now these days to take a metadata backup, or like you work on partition, clustering, all this stuff. Very rare scenarios you will see that kind of environment, because everything is already set up. unless or until a new project comes up and you got that project, you need to start a new administration task for a particular project. Okay? If that scenarios comes, you will have a lot of things to do, but I don't see anywhere where it's like that. Okay. It's a predefined thing, very easy job. You can go with administration, I can tell that. That's not a problem. Architect is a difficult one. When I say difficult, if you know ETL, if you know C, not even ETL, if you know data warehousing concepts with a good SQL knowledge, you can be an architect. That's it. Developer is also a good thing. You can play with reports and dashboards, the charts, the flash files. You should have a lot of patience to do a development. If you are putting money from your pocket, then it's waste of doing a certification. It will cost $2,000. Hello?
Okay.
When I say $2,000, it includes all stages of certification, almost 1 lakh rupees in Indian currency. If the company sponsors you, you go ahead and do it. That's not a big deal.
Okay.
But still you can write a specific certifications for project design, administrator, developer. You can buy that. Report essentials. It will cost you $200 per paper. You can write 3-4 exams. That's not a big deal.
Okay.
And these $200 exams are choose the correct answers. If you want to do an MCD, MCST kind of certifications, you need to go to New York or some place where they have specific centers. They'll give you a sample project. You need to execute it, and you need to give an explanation for that also.
Okay.
That is okay.
Thanks, Pawan. That's
Okay. You're welcome. You're welcome. Any other questions, or I can drop off? Any other questions?